For the most part, the people in the top 5 rounds, everyone knows who they are, so it's a matter of hitting on the later round guys. Numbers help color the landscape in a way that provides nuance. Working with the information at an aggregate level allows you to catch players that might fall through the cracks otherwise. We collect information on all the players, whether it's qualitative or quantitative. That just helps us stack guys and rank them against each other.
The numbers are important to us. We have some things that we look at and bottom lines that they have to hit. Just over the course of history tells you that they need to hit. And if they don't hit them, we're going to ask some serious questions about, does this player really fit and can he overcome it?
We talk about outliers and what offsets. So say somebody like Kenny Moore, for instance, who's a little bit shorter, but his wingspan and his length is unusual for his size. So that's what offsets Kenny's lack of traditional height that you want for the position.
Player evaluation comes down to grading the tape, and I think our scouts do an amazing job of that.
We'll watch several games on each one of the players. We'll watch interviews, we'll watch the combine workouts, we'll watch pro day workouts, and you can always tell the level of athleticism, play speed, and competitive nature more than anything else that stands out on these players.
That initially got on the board in February. By the time it's over with, we'll see them 4 times.
High weight speed, he's gonna run fast, he's got size, but he's got short arms, he misses tackles.
So like I'm watching summer tape on this guy, I'm like, man, this guy must be pretty smart because he plays like inside backer like this, then he plays on the edge.
He has some really impressive 50-50 balls, and then he'll just drop too many routine balls.
I like his hands. He's not very big, but he is competitive and tough as a blocker.
Now you go out to practice, I mean, he looks like a high school kid.
But he's the toughest player on the team, so he's dumb tough.
So the last 17 days, I think we went over around 1,800 players.
Before the year started, we're at 13,000. Then we're at 2,500 throughout the fall. Then coming in February, we're down to 250. Then throughout March and April, we whittle that down to probably 170.
I'd say some teams have as many as 400, 500 guys on their draft board, which is too many. Ideally, you have less than that.
People, it's kind of like, well, 256 get drafted. And I'm like, yeah, 256 get drafted, but there's 170 that we would say fit us.
Just going through the board can mean totally different meaning on that day, depending on if we're talking about the position or if we're talking about the board in general. Going through the board vertically is how we stack it, according to the top ranked player in that position, all the way down to the last guy who we have rated as a draftable player. Going through the board horizontally, it's how we compare them within their round or within their level by each position across, who we have them compared to. So say it could be an offensive lineman compared to a defensive lineman. Do we see them at that same level?
You want to get it down, like you don't want to be cluttered on draft day, so that way your decisions are easy. It peels off nice, like when you're looking at the board, there's always like one guy sticking up above everyone else, and it's easy. It's like, well, who do we take? Well, you take that one, because he's up here and everybody else is right here.
It's comparable to what happens on game day with coaching decisions. Every possible situation is repped beforehand so that when that situation arises, we know what we're going to do already because it's been discussed.
We've worked through every scenario that says, all right, if this guy's here, this is who we're taking. And then we're fielding calls all the way up until the pick. We're not just going to make a move to make a move. We're going to make the best decision we can for us going forward. And if that means moving back in the draft and we think there's depth and we can collect more picks, then we'll do it. And if there's a guy we target that we think we need to move up for, we'll be aggressive and we do it.
The Jets are moving up in this year's draft, trading their first-round pick, the 6th overall selection, to the Colts for their 3rd overall selection.
We had some discussions with a couple teams, and we had a good relationship with New York. I thought it was better to get it done early than to wait. Where we were from a position standpoint, being able to move back to the 6th position we thought was pretty unique.
So with the draft over now, the Colts absolutely killed it at the top of the draft. They traded back from 3 to 6 with the Jets. Also with that trade, they were still able to get a premium player and turn their 49th overall pick into even more draft capital by trading down with the Eagles.
Almost all the free agents we signed last year, we had on the draft board. You're jacked when that happens because now we got to go sign this guy. We thought he was good enough to draft. We just didn't get the opportunity to.
Take George Odom, for example, who we signed after the draft last year and ended up, starting a game to us, was a really good special teams player for us. We think has a really bright future. That's an important part. I mean, one of the things we tell every player that enters the building, we don't care where you came from. If you come and compete and earn a job, you're going to earn a job. I don't care if you're an undrafted free agent, if you're a claim like Kenny Moore. If you win the job, we're going to play you. And to me, that's all a player can ask for. The proof's in the pudding. Everybody says it, but we've lived it here.
This is really the final step, the final chapter for it in terms of our evaluation and getting together as a group.